Hi everyone, it's Debbie with Book and Bujo. Welcome if you're new, welcome back if you've been here before. Today we are doing my December Readathons wrap-up. How did I do with my Readathons in December? Not too bad. Let's check them out. We'll start with Buzzwordathon. We had to read a book with holiday words in the title, and I read The Christmas Wish by Lindsay Kelk, and that was super adorable, very fun. Quick and easy read, and it was a great palate cleanser in between some of the big books that I had. Year in Aeldia by G at Book Roast. I had two different prompts that I had to read. For Ariel, she had to read a heist story, and she read Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo, the second book in the Six of Crows series. And then for Karasu, he had to read a romance, and so he read The Christmas Wish by Lindsay Kelk. The 52 Book Club. Sadly, I was not able to get the spell shop in to finish out the last prompt for the 52 Book Club. It did come in just a couple days ago, so I can read it now and just add it on to my already 16 book long TBR for January. Let's make it 17. I will go back through and see what books I have read that might have been a debut between July and December and see if I can fulfill that prompt. If not, then I guess I just miss it. But I did finish for the other 4 prompts, so it's just the one that I missed. And so the other ones were a book written by a ghostwriter, and for that I read The Gathering Storm by Robert Jordan and Brandon Sanderson. A time frame spans a week or less. I read The Christmas Wish by Lindsay Kelk. I got as much mileage out of that book as possible. I used it in almost every readathon. A book set in a landlocked country. I read The Historian by Elizabeth Kostova. And then for a palindrome on the cover, I read Assistant to the Villain, and that was by Hannah, which is the palindrome, Nicole Mayer. Then we move into Merry Bookmas, and that was put together by Completely Melanie. And that was 12 movies of Christmas. And the first one was The Santa Claus, read a book with a reluctant hero. And for that, I read Accidental Ashes, the second book in the Zoe Myers series by Sarah C. Rothel. Prompt number 2 was Jingle All the Way, and that was to read a book with a family dynamic, and I read I'll Be Home for Mischief, the 5th book in the Christmas Tree Farm Mysteries by Jacqueline Frost. Prompt number 3, I'll Be Home for Christmas. Read a book with a quest, and for this one, I originally had read Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mayer, but I realized after reading it wasn't quite a quest, so instead I read Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. Prompt number 4, Elf. Make a favorite holiday treat and share pictures on your socials. And so I made some sourdough granola, which my family loves, and everybody wants the recipe now. It's so good, and the recipe is actually from Farmhouse on Boone. If you want to check it out, I will leave a link to it down below, and it is delicious, and I did share that on the Seasonathon Academy Discord. Prompt number 5, Die Hard. Read a controversial or polarizing book. And for that, I read The Historian by Elizabeth Kostova. Prompt number 6, It's a Wonderful Life. Read a book with an alternate timeline or a time loop. And for that, I read The Christmas Wish by Lindsay Kelk. And that one is a Groundhog's Day type of story. And then prompt number 7, Nightmare Before Christmas. Read a spooky or a spoopy book. And for that, I read The Holiday Haunting at the Biltmore, and that is by Eva Poehler, and it is the 8th book in the Mystery House series. Now, I haven't read any of the other books in the series, just the one, and it was adorable. So cute. It is a super quick and easy book to read, and I am definitely intrigued enough to go back and read the previous books in the series. Prompt number 8, Charlie Brown Christmas. Attend a concert, tree lighting, or even just drive around your neighborhood and look at all of the different Christmas lights on everybody's houses. And for that, I actually performed in 6 concerts. I did look at Christmas tree lights around our neighborhood, and I attended Acronite, which is multiple concerts going on all throughout the entire downtown of Prescott, Arizona. And it was just a fun night overall. Number 9, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Read a book with a grump finding love. And for that, I read The Mistletoe Switch by Catherine Sadler, and that is the first book in the Yuletide series. And that was also super cute. And the grump does find love. Number 10, Polar Express. Read a polar fantasy. And for that, I read The Winter of the Witch by Catherine Arden, which is the third and final book in the Winter Night trilogy. Loved it. Such great atmosphere. Love it. Number 11, A Christmas Carol. Read a book about second chances. And I went the very easy route and read Snowflakes and Second Chances. And that is by M. Tate. And it's the first book in the Snowflake Village Christmas. And this one's more of a little novella, but again, it was just kind of heartwarming, very cute. If you want to get all nitpicky about it, yes, things were very convenient and things happened really fast, but I mean, it was so short that, you know, you had to just shove everything in at once. And if you just kind of enjoy the book along the way, then none of that stuff really bothers you. But it was really cute. All right, and then the last one, prompt number 12, The Dog Days of Christmas. Read the group book, Pupcakes by Annie England Noblin, and that was so cute. Definitely gave that one 5 stars. Heartwarming and adorable. It was super easy to read and just, oh, heartwarming. Yeah, loved it. You gotta check it out. It is so good. And then we also did a live show with the author and chatted with her about the book and other things that she's doing. And I will link that video down below for you as well, in case you want to check it out. But yeah, it was a great book. I would highly recommend it. We have a young lady that is recently divorced. She originally moved in with her mom. That did not work out well, so she moved to another town and moved in with her best friend, and it's been 6 months. She's got to get out of that house because the best friend's pregnant and gonna have a baby, and they need the space back. And the best friend happens to be in real estate, and so she finds her a place where she can move in and live rent-free, but there's a couple stipulations. She has to take care of the owner's dog and bring the dog to the nursing home where the owner now lives once a week and chat with her. But then she can live in this beautiful house. And she gets into some trouble. She's never had a dog before, so she runs into some issues. She meets a couple of really nice people, and it's just a great story overall. So I did complete Merry Bookmas. Moving on to Library of Dragons by Books to Ashes. And this one, I took the left path. This is for the chapter 3 portion of the readathon. And the left path, you had to find a book. And for this one, I rolled a 14, plus I had a 1 intelligence, which gave me 15. And I could read a book from my favorite genre. And I chose A Day of Fallen Night by Samantha Shannon, and I did finish that one. It was really good. I think I like Priory of the Orange Tree just a little bit better, but I did really enjoy this one. Then I needed to study my book. So I needed to match my clothes to the book cover, and for that I read The Tombs of Atuan by Ursula K. Le Guin, and that's the second book in the Earthsea cycle. Then I needed to get my dragon some stuff, and so really should have bought my dragon some things, but no, I decided to steal some stuff instead. And for that one I did roll a 14, and I had +1 dexterity, which gave me 15, which means I was successful in stealing items from my dragon. And I got to do a mood read for that, and I read Saga Volume 7 by Brian K. Vaughan. Then I wanted to spend some time with my dragon, and I rolled a 12, and I had a +1 intelligence, which gave me 13, and that gave me some mental time with my dragon. So hanging out, doing something mentally, so like playing chess or doing some trivia, things like that. And my prompt was a TBR game prompt, and for that I chose Assistant to the Villains by Hannah Nicole Mayer. And then the mandatory prompt, Bond with your dragon. Book features an animal companion or an animal on the cover, and this one had both. There was a cat on the cover, and the cat is also an animal companion for one of the main characters, and that was I'll Be Home from Mischief by Jacqueline Frost, and that's the 5th book in the Christmas Tree Farm Mysteries. And then we have quality time with your dragon, and that was to take part in reading sprints, which I did all of the sprints for Merry Bookmas, and I read The Christmas Wish by Lindsay Kelk during one of them. as well as starting A Day of Fallen Night. Oh, and I read Saga Volume 7 during that too. So that one was complete. Next up, we had the Reindeer Readathon with Eric from Breakeven Books, and I was on Team Stalking, and for that one, we had Dasher, a book recommended on socials, and I read Assistant to the Villains. And then Dancer, book genre matches favorite music genre, and this one I chose my favorite genre to listen to while I'm reading, and that was classical, and I read The Historian by Elizabeth Kostova. For Prancer, book synopsis mentioned a named special event or date. The Christmas Wish by Lindsay Kelk. I told you I'm using it for everything. Vixen, book you didn't buy. And that was Accidental Ashes, the second book in the Zoe Meyer series by Sarah C. Rothel. Comet, book ends on last digit of the day of your birth, which would be a 3. And that was The Gathering Storm by Robert Jordan and Brandon Sanderson. That one was hard. Most of my books ended on even numbers. Cupid, book from an author you've already given 5 stars to, and that was A Day of Fallen Night by Samantha Shannon, because I gave Priory of the Orange Tree 5 stars. And that is the book number 0, or the prequel to the Roots of Chaos series. Donner, book cover contains words from the word search, and the word I saw was lights, and that was I'll Be Home for Mischief by Jacqueline Frost. Blitzen, choose 3 books starting with the same letter, then randomly generate. And I ended up getting The House Witch by Delmhawk, and I did read that, and I love that. It was so cute and adorable and just cozy fantasy, and I thoroughly enjoyed my read of that. And then lastly, we have Rudolph. Read a debut novel, and I read Fae Song by Dionne Williams, and that was really good. I enjoyed that one. So the main character is a bard, and she happens upon a Southron who they are kind of more of the warriors, and his particular clan is very tall, and he is injured, and she helps to heal him. And the Southrons are also ones that can become guards over people, so almost like a bodyguard. And he ends up kind of becoming her bodyguard, and she is his charge. And they just kind of travel around, stopping at different points on their way to a certain destination. And she sings and plays at the different places they stop, and meets some interesting people along the way. And I really enjoyed it. It's a great traveling book. Then we have the bonus prompts. So we had Christmas Star, book over 500 pages, Day of Fallen Night. Actually, I had a few of those. Christmas Lights, an ebook. So I chose The House Witch, but also Fae Song was an ebook, as was Accidental Ashes. Yeah, I had quite a few ebooks. I actually have this one on my Kindle as well. And then Christmas Carols, an audiobook. Again, there could have been quite a few of them. Assistant to the Villains, I'll Be Home for Mischief. I did choose I'll Be Home for Mischief, but The Christmas Wish was also an audiobook. So yeah, there's lots of choices for that too. Christmas Tree, book you wouldn't typically read, The Historian by Elizabeth Kostova. And that was definitely more, but I was thinking it was more dark academia, which yes it is, but it was more in a historical, living through historical stuff and researching, and yeah. It wasn't quite the typical dark academia of what I think of, like with The Secret History. This was definitely a little different, but I enjoyed it. Christmas Elf, a TBR vet, Fae Song. I've had that on my Kindle for a few years now, so I'm glad I finally got to it. And then Slaying It. You can choose one prompt to do a second time, and I chose Dancer, which was a book recommended on socials, and I read Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. So I did complete the Reindeer Readathon with full points for my team. And then lastly, we had Lightfall with Gia Book Roast, and that's part of Old Favorite Pass and the Magical Readathon. And we had a whole lot of different books and prompts that we can read. You can go to just one of the locations in the area. You can go to all of them. You can do multiple ones. You can do one location 3 times. Anything you want. And it was over a 1 week period. I usually just ignore that, and I do it for the whole month, because I don't do as well being confined to just a certain time period and in like just a weekend or a week. I always do it for the whole month. So for Occult Premonitions, a book set in the future or an alternate world, and for that I read Leviticus by Callan Samuels, and that one was an alternate world. And then I also read, so that was for Ariel. For Karasu, he read The 13th Fairy by Melissa de la Cruz. That one was more of an alternate world as well. So there's some part of the book is in like the Were world, and then there's also kind of like a portal into an alternate world, which is kind of fun. Owlcat Craft Cafe, a cozy read, and for that Ariel read The House Witch by Delham Hawk, and Karasu read Pupcakes by Anne England Noblin. And then we have Shank and Shaw, Legitimate Retailer, Will Give You Chills, and for that Ariel read The Holiday Hunting at the Biltmore by Eva Poehler, and Karasu read The Poisoner's Enemy by Jeff Wheeler. Wallace's Wonderful Winter Wanimals, Aurora colors on the cover. For that one, Ariel read The Christmas Wish by Lindsay Kelk, and I'm sure this one probably could count for Karasu, because this one did get read over the month, just not during that week. Well, it was during that week, but also during other weeks. And then we have Smith and Friends and Sons, Arcane Goods and Such, and that was Winter Elements on the cover. And Ariel read The Winter of the Witch by Catherine Arden, and Karasu read I'll Be Home for Mischief by Jacqueline Frost. And then we have The Old Tales Bookstore, a book you still need to read. Karasu read Accidental Ashes by Sarah C. Rothel, and Ariel read Saga Volume 7 by Brian K. Vaughan. The Rich Pigeon Pub, 2 or more authors. So The Gathering Storm by Robert Jordan and Brandon Sanderson was read by Ariel, and Karasu read Dash and Lily's Book of Dares, and that has 2 different authors, and I don't know what they are off the top of my head. I'll put the cover up on the screen so you can see who the authors are. And then that was each of the different stops on the Old Favor Pass. So I did complete all of my readathons, which I was super excited about. And I also completed my TBR. There was 2 books, well, really just 1 book that I did roll over into January 1st because I was at 90%, 91% I think when I was done. So I just had a chapter, basically 2 chapters left to finish on January 1st, and I finished that first thing in the morning. So I counted that for December as a win. So yay. And thank you so much for joining me today as I wrapped up my readathons for December, and I do have some other fun things planned for January, so stay tuned, and please like, comment, and subscribe if you wanna, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any other bookish content. And until next time, keep reading. Bye!